So we are definitely in interesting times as Pat McAfee has thrown a wrench within the sports media landscape, especially among the quote unquote journalists of the industry who for the most part pre-social media really went unchecked. And now due to technology, the landscape has definitely changed. Guys have more of control of distribution of getting their voices heard. And it's caused a lot of the lines to get blurred in regards to the coverage around sports. Today, we're mainly seeing the rise of the personalities, and it's not just sports, it's also in politics. And even between the two worlds, the lines are further blurred as a lot of the culture around the personalities of politics is spilling into sports. The Shannon Sharp archetypes, where I stand with LeBron no matter what. Shannon is not a political person himself, but just that stance, it's new to sports coverage. And just like in the political debate world, a lot of the banter is scripted. And many of the journalists on the sidelines are looking almost at the old rules of the media game disappear right in front of their eyes. Pat McAfee right here calls out the media for the way they treated the reporter Lynn Jones, who's had over a 30-year career, questioning her credentials in a way. And his call out was a lot more than just this current situation, as sports today is perhaps the last monoculture left within the, I would say, television or just media sphere. And with that real estate, there's a lot of people on the political side that have been trying to ease their way in, so they and mainly their financial backers could put their influence on the masses. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
27 seconds of, hey, yeah, good stuff. And then, you know, everybody in the sports journalism world say, hey, this is out of line. This
Unbelievable.
can't do it.
Can't have it.
What are we doing here? We got deadlines. What's your deadline? A tweet? What are we even talking about now in 2026 about a deadline? Everybody's on a deadline. First tweet out wins in everything. We are all trying to post stuff now at the same exact time. Now, I know you got to write an entire article, and those 27 seconds can certainly change, especially if those 27 seconds are supposed to be meant on miserable, terrible things, okay? If they're supposed to be miserable, terrible things, those 27 seconds aren't wasted. If those are dumb questions about things that you don't have right that happened on a football field that you just thought were happening, those 27 seconds are A-okay. But a positive, hey, you did good for us this year. We appreciate you. For 27 seconds, can't have it.
No place for it.
Can't have it.
It's amazing how a 27-second just appreciation for a coach by a journalist who had over a 30-year career could bother the media so much. Oh, she's looking like a fan. But yet the quote-unquote journalism code of ethics could be applied really on occasion. There's a lot of reporting being done with anonymous sources, and a lot of the time it's proven to be false, especially during the Kawhi Leonard free agency. There was a few media members from Ohio putting out stories that ended up not even being anywhere close to the truth, but yet they hid behind anonymous sources. Once again, there's a lot of mommying going on, the same type of vibe that we've seen from the political landscape, with just, oh, you better do this, or how dare you say this. This type of mommying auntie energy needs to get the fuck up out of here. And it really stems from the scripted political debate realm of the internet. The personalities from that world are slowly trying to creep into sports, and they're trying to blur the lines between the two and apply the principles from that world. Prime examples of this is guys like Emmanuel Acho, Ryan Clark, Kerry Champion, Keith Olbermann, Jason Whitlock, Stephen A. Smith, and even Malika Andrews. When she first joined ESPN, she tried to politicize everything, and now she sort of stepped back away from that.
It's like, what a weird thing to come out publicly and say, this is disgusting. Who do you think you are to say that you think that's disgusting and it matters? Like, that is a crazy thing about the sports media people. And I put a post out this morning about it because I've thought about it a lot. I've wondered why our show works. I've wondered why people like our show, legitimately. I have been so baffled by the fact that this show, and we would like to let you know, we are so thankful that we get to do this show. But why is this show having the success? And I think it's because most of the people that have been covering sports for a long time, not most, sorry, a percentage larger than you would hope, much larger than you would hope, that chose to do sports journalism. I think they don't like sports. I think these people hate sports. I think they're political journalists by nature who preyed on sports as an easier path to be able to get into the biz. You know, sports journalism is everywhere. Sports media, bum, bum, bum. I don't think they like sports. I think they cover sports. I don't think they like sports. So whenever you're always looking to kill something because you don't like it, I don't know if that should just necessarily be the only thing considered as journalism.
Now, Pat is cooking right here, and I'm going to add on to this. With the ratings declining on linear TV and sports basically being the last piece of monoculture, it's a really valuable real estate right now. And that is a very strong way to reach the masses. We're seeing an attempt by some of the personalities and the factions that back them to spill over into the sports side and kind of blur the line in between the two. I would say the money is a lot more for these personalities to make on the political side. But if they could actually be in front of the masses on the sports side, they could actually gain the benefits of both. Even Stephen A. Smith is attempting to do this. And not only he's blurring the lines between sports and politics, he's blurring the lines between siding with the Democrats and Republicans. Stephen A. has definitely mastered the art of tap dancing. You don't know where he stands on anything.
I don't know if that should just necessarily be the only thing considered as journalism. Like, how about we just learned how Liam Cohen, who might be a GOAT when it's all said and done, which is what Lynn Jones.
Yeah.
Hey,
you're the one.
Nobody expected this out of you guys. He might be a GOAT whenever it's all said and done, which means there'll probably be documentaries. There'll be entire things about Liam Cohen. They'll be able to now know exactly how he was in one of the most miserable moments of his life because Lynn Jones provided him with a compliment. He was classy. He was had a lot of humility. He did not bury her. He did not get uncomfortable. He didn't deflect. He didn't do anything. He was just a humble, classy dude in a miserable time. Whenever he knows that he let down his team, he let down everybody. He feels terrible in that moment. So I hated the grandstanding about how that's terrible. That's good for sports. Okay, sports are supposed to be an uplifter. Sports are supposed to be a unifier. So if somebody who just so happens to have a pen or a microphone in front of them wants to say something positive about sports, that should be allowed. I don't think that should be something that's necessarily, like hated on. But I guess if you go to the same exact journalism schools,
or you come from the political world, nobody's praising anybody unless they're on the same side. Once again, there's factions that understand that sports is basically the last, I would say, monoculture where they could really reach a mass audience. So whatever propaganda or just whatever narrative they're trying to spew, that is not only the place to do it, there's also a big bag of money attached to it.
and you're all taught the same exact things about what you're supposed to do, whether it's sports or politics or medicine or all this shit, you're automatically going to be trying to pick things apart because everybody's in investigative journalism, which I respect the people that do that. I think they make the world better, but it's like, not everybody has to be a miserable prick. Mm-hmm. Like that isn't how you have to be. Sports are allowed to be like that. So I thought that was a good moment that happened for all of society to realize how some of these people are. Like, these people are just miserable. So whenever you're reading something happens and you're reading their angle, it's like they were not going to be able to find something positive in anything, like at all. So just remember that as we go forward. Yeah. And that's my grandstand. That's me riding a high horse saying, because you all are miserable and hate sports, our show has been able to exist. So we appreciate you for it, but it would be cool if you got on board with sports being a unifier in a good time, because the world needs it, maybe now more than ever.
There's always been a portion of the media that has always made content for the approval of the industry. It was never necessarily for the audience, because at the time they controlled distribution. So if you turned on your TV, whatever was being shown was kind of shoved down your throat in a way. And now that distribution has been disrupted with streaming platforms, you got YouTube, podcasting, etc. And in a way, now that technology has forced that same media industry to make content appealing enough for the masses. And that's where a lot of the disconnect comes from. You can see this play out in Hollywood when they have these award shows and there's these movies that are eligible for awards that no one has ever seen. Some of the movie studios in LA that get that green light is really made to appease the upper echelons of that whole Hollywood world. And just like the many media outlets, they're struggling to produce content that connects with the audience, because that distribution chain is no longer something that they have full control of. And now this brings me to Pablo Torre, who in a way has created his own lane where he sort of merges both of these worlds. Like the Steve Ballmer cap circumvention will eventually reach the eyes of, like, I don't know, the New Yorker, the Inquirer, the New York Times, etc. But at the same time, he's sort of grassroots, because out of the whole media industry, why is he the only one that went through open court documents to find out that the Clippers were in a connection with a non-profit that had an endorsement deal with Kawhi Leonard that was completely unannounced? Once again, the lines are truly blurred nowadays, because where are all these quote-unquote journalists with all these morals and principles, as there was no real follow-up to his story, as everything was pretty much surface level and left up to Pablo. But he responded to Pat McAfee's statements, and he also laid out the current landscape of sports journalism today.
Journalism has a problem insofar as it comes off being the school marm. Like, we're holding a ruler, rapping everybody on the knuckles who wants to have fun and just watch the games, bro. And the whole premise of what I love doing, in sports specifically, is to remind people that silly and serious, highbrow and lowbrow, smart and stupid can all coexist.
Facts. And that's something that the legacy media companies are struggling to deal with right now, because a lot of them believe Pat McAfee should not have a platform on ESPN. The level of pushback that he got for even being on that network is very similar to what the former WWE owner Vince McMahon faced when he started a football league, and it was on NBC right before Saturday Night Live. There was a lot of people at that network that felt like anything wrestling related should not even be in the same stratosphere as a quote-unquote highbrow product like Saturday Night Live. With the way distribution has changed because of technology, the legacy media is trying to find a way to brand their content to separate it from an everyday person. But in reality, Netflix acquiring a bunch of podcasts off of YouTube told you that everything is really in competition with each other. They're just competing for people's time. Again, this situation right here is very multi-layered, and shout out to Pablo Torre, because he is creating his own lane. As he said out of his own mouth, he's trying to merge a lot of different worlds together, and they can coexist. There's too much policing on why does someone get a platform versus another person. It goes to show you legacy media has a lot of, how should I say, favoritism, or I like you, so let me put you in this position here, versus someone earning it. There's a lot more of that going on within that ecosystem. Now they have to operate on the online world, which is not really a pyramid, it's more flat. And no matter how they try to enforce their old legacy standards, it's just not going to thrive and work. It was never meant to be sort of like a company like CNN where there's a pyramid structure. That's really the main issue from a lot of people coming out of that world, just them seeing Pat McAfee's rise.
Telling a story that is premised on truth does not need to be an exercise in scolding.
Yep.
Oftentimes, it's really fun to find out what people, especially extraordinarily rich and powerful people who would love more Pat McAfee's saying more of exactly what he just said, right? It's really fun to find out what they don't want you to know. And in sports, because they know of this fandom and how fervent it is and how your love of something can be confused for anything resembling, an allegiance to truth. Which is not. It's just not the same thing. Let's just stop confusing it. You love the team. You don't care about what the team is really trying to do. You just love it, right? And to that point, when I report on the Clippers stuff, right? In sports, because it is the toy department, I want to be honest about that too, right? Like, sports reporters should acknowledge, and I do all the time, that it has the ability to touch all these other serious things, the adult sections of the newspaper, but it is still sports, and I love it for that reason. But in sports, you get to have your cake and eat it too. You get the billions of dollars, often in public money, and you escape the scrutiny that attends it because it's just the games, man. Sports are meant to be fun. And so, for instance, in sports, Sagar, you're just referring to this Clippers thing. The NBA investigation is happening right now, and it's the example of sports gets to investigate itself. They get to decide, are we the bad guys? And so it's left a lane, frankly, for me to come in and be the guy who tries to, make people realize it can be fun to know the truth, but it's a lot easier and a lot more financially incentivized to just say, can we just have fun? As if there's a choice, as if there's a dichotomy between fun and truth.
Fun and truth could exist at the same time, especially in this landscape. It's just not too many people trying to create their own lanes. Everyone's just trying to copy, I would say, anyone that's already successful, like Stephen A. Smith. That formula that he used with Skip to create First Take, and then Skip went on with Shannon Sharp and had Undisputed. You gotta not only evolve, but take advantage of just the open lanes that are already there. There's multiple ways to cover sports. Sure, the political pundits can come down here and they can have their own shows where they kind of mix the two, like Jamel Hill with her show Spolitics, or even Ryan Clark trying to pander to, I don't know, everybody or whatever he's doing or feeling sorry for. There's a lane for it. As nasty as that is, there's a fucking lane for it. But this whole mommy energy from the journalists and also coming from the political side of just trying to police people's actions through these neoliberal words, it's just lame and corny. You might as well just be somebody's auntie and put on a fucking apron. But it is what it is. There's truly a lot of lanes open. And even for, I would say, like the Kai Cenats, he could do something with sports where he mixes it in with his streaming. There's a lane for that. Just like there's a lane for the athletes to get their stories out and their perspectives. So yeah, the mommying energy, it's gotta go. And just the whole jealousy of why does this person get a platform? They said something I don't agree with. It's just nastiness all around.